or the better approach is to use the direct stiffness method or also the finite element method. Okay, but since that you have not learned so far, okay, and so we will not proceed ahead further. Now we'll talk about again what we have actually discussed during the 2 degrees of freedom system in a more elaborate and systematic manner. And finally we'll talk about the mode superposition method. Okay, so this is our now. So now everything you think in the terms that it is n degrees of freedom system, n degrees of freedom discrete system. Okay, the n can be anything, it can be 2, 3, 4 or 100,000 like that. Okay, so you think like that. So your mass matrix or stiffness matrix or damping matrix all will be size of n cross n. Okay, and this displacement vector or here acceleration vector. Okay, so I'm talking about now undamped free vibration, so there is no forcing function is there. Okay, and the damping matrix is absent. Okay, so this is my mass matrix, which is a size of n cross n, acceleration vector n cross 1, stiffness matrix n cross n, and the displacement vector n cross 1, and obviously force vector it is n cross 1 of all null zeros. Okay, so it's present a simultaneous linear homogeneous differential equation, and each equation is of the type of this. So this is basically a index representation of the matrix equation. Okay, index notation I can write like this, so that is for your convenience. Okay, so as I have already mentioned, so what I will assume that the solution qt here. Okay, so each component qjt, so I can call it at uj, and then the some time dependent part. Okay, this is what the time dependent part is. So j is equal to 1 2 dot 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 n. Okay, time dependent part is same for all the coordinates. So basically the ratio of the displacement of any two coordinate any time is constant. Okay, the ratio. So it is the ratio is time independent, so that the it's undergo synchronous motion. Okay, that we have already discussed. Okay, now if I write in the vector form, so I can write qt is equals to u into that c of cosine, right? That we have seen the time dependence is omega t minus phi. Okay, so now if I substitute this solution to my differential equation matrix equation this, so then what I will get basically, actually I will get k into u. That is again the eigenvalue problem. We have repeatedly discussing that same thing, actually m into u. Okay, so this is your generalized eigenvalue problem. Generalized eigenvalue problem, EVP. Okay, right? So then we can write it like this also. Okay, equals to 0, and we have seen that for non-trivial solution of this, okay, the determinant of this coefficient matrix has to be 0. So the determinant of k minus omega square m equals to 0, right? And now if I take the determinant of this, so I will basically get a frequency equation, right? So the determinant of k minus omega square m equals to 0 will give you the frequency equation, or it's called the characteristic equation, right? Because after solving this, we will get eigenvalues. Then if I take the square root of that, we will get the natural frequency of the system. Okay, so now this will give a order of n order polynomial in omega square. Okay, so I will get the roots, right? So roots I will get omega 1 square, omega 2 square, omega 3 square, dot 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 omega r square, dot 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 some omega s square, dot 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 some omega n square, n number of eigenvalues. So these are called eigenvalues or characteristic value. Okay, so then I can take the square root and arrange in this manner, such that like this. So these are called the system natural frequency. System natural frequency, and the first mode, which is the lowest first frequency, which is the lowest frequency, is called the fundamental frequency. Okay, so as you will see later that, so let's say there is in a system 1000 degrees of freedom, that is n small n equal to 1000. Okay, that means our mass matrix, stiffness matrix all are 1000 by 1000. Okay, so we'll see that only very few mode, even at maximum 10 modes is good enough in most of the practical cases. 5 to 10 modes are good enough. The first 5 to 10 modes are good enough to get a reasonably accurate and acceptable results in most of the practical engineering scenario. Okay, and the contribution from the first mode is the highest. Okay, but why that is and how it is coming, that we'll see later. Okay, So, so from that you are understanding that it is not required to take all the modes in my responses, right? In a modal superposition method or modal analysis method, I can very much consider only the few initial few modes, like let's say first 5 modes. Okay, obviously I will not get the exact result, right? The exact result you will get when you consider all the modes, the effect of all the modes, right? Then it is the exact result. Exact in the sense, if your modeling is correct, okay, assuming that the mass and stiffness matrices that we are obtained or your model is resembling the actual structure. Okay, so in that case, the actual result, yeah, I mean the correct result you will get if you consider all the modes, the combination of the response due to the combination or the effect from all the modes. Okay, but you will see that the initial few modes, as I told, the 5 to 10 modes are good enough to get a almost accurate results, which is of practical use you can consider. Okay. Now, so now you see corresponding to each eigenvalue I'll get u1, right? So I'll put it here. So this is my eigenvalue problem. So I'll put it here, omega 1 square, I'll get u1. Then I'll solve for omega 2 square, I'll get u2. The way we have done, right? So similarly here for n degrees of freedom system. Omega 2 square, I'll get u. Omega r square, I'll get ur. Omega s square, you will get us. Omega n square, you get us. So n mode shape or eigenvector or characteristic vector. So these are called the eigenvector or mode shape. Okay, and as we have already seen for 2 degrees of freedom system, so these mode shapes are not, their entries in these mode shapes are not unique. Okay, and if you take one, some scalar multiplied with that, so the shape remain unchanged. Okay, because our eigenvalue problem is homogeneous. So any solution, let's say u star, alpha into u star is also a solution, right? That is what it is. So these are the one pair. So this represent actually the first mode. This is the second mode. And this is the nth mode. Okay. Like that. Okay. So now tell me, what are the sizes of this u1 or u2? What are the sizes of this vector?
N cross 1.
N cross 1. This is the vector. Okay. Now, as you have done earlier, so our omega 1 square, omega 2 square, omega n square will be the what is the spectral matrix, right? How I have represented spectral matrix this way, or I don't know, I forget. Let's check it. Okay, I think so. Okay, so this is the your spectral matrix, right? So what is the size of this spectral matrix?
N cross N.
N cross. Then I can write u11, u21, un1, u12, u22, un2, u1n, u2n, unn. So you see the same thing I am repeating actually. Okay. So it is another chance for you. If you have don't understood, then please ask me. Okay. So I think this I have defined as U, and I called it as a modal matrix. Right? Okay. What is the dimension of this U? What is the dimension of this matrix?
N cross N.
N cross 1. Because each column is n cross 1. Each column is n cross 1. And similar till n number of columns. This represents the first mode, second mode shape, nth modes. Okay. Spectral matrix, modal matrix. Correct. Okay. So now let us formally prove the orthogonality of the mode shape. Okay. So before that, what should I say? Okay. So my eigenvalue problem is k u is equals to omega square m into u. Right? Okay. So let us consider two distinct modes. One is rth mode and another is sth mode. Two distinct. The rth mode is not the same as the sth mode, but it can be anything out of that n mode. Okay. So obviously, so the nth mode solution, rth mode solution, that is omega r. So look at carefully, u r, and the sth mode solution, that is omega s and us obviously going to satisfy my this equation, right? Because I have obtained the n number of modes 1, 2, 3, r, s, j, i, whatever mode n from by solving this eigenvalue problem, correct? So I can write easily that k u r omega r square m u r, correct? I can write k us omega s square m us. Sure? Any doubt here? Any issue here? Let me introduce some pages. No issue, right? So rth mode is also satisfying, sth mode is also satisfying. Okay. Now pre-multiply equation 1 by us transpose. Pre-multiply equation 1 by us transpose. us transpose k ur omega r square us transpose m. Any issue? No issue, right? Okay. Take the transpose of this equation. Take the transpose of this equation. UR transpose. K transpose is K, right? Symmetric matrix. US transpose is US. Omega R square. UR transpose. M transpose is M. US. Number 3. Are you agree with this equation? Any doubt in getting this equation? Any line you are not able to understood or not agree with me? Or why this line is came? Or why I have written like that? Anybody? Do not hesitate to ask me. Okay. Because now we are going to formally prove the orthogonality of the modes. For any two distinct mode R and S, we want to prove that. Okay. The relationship that we done for the 2 degrees of freedom system, right? U1 and U2 and omega 1 square, omega 2 square, right? So now we are going to formally prove it. Okay. So this is my eigenvalue problem. So I am taking two distinct mode, rth mode and sth mode. So rth mode solution is the omega r ur and sth mode solution is the omega s and us. Okay, right? So obviously those are going to satisfy the eigenvalue problem. So I can write equation 1 and 2. Now I am pre-multiplying equation 1 by us transpose and then taking transpose of the whole equation so that I am getting like this. Okay, and remember that the k and m are the symmetric matrices, mass and the stiffness matrices. Correct. Now pre-multiply equation 2 by UR transpose. Pre-multiply equation 2 by UR transpose and tell me what you are getting. So I will just write this one. So please help me in writing this equation number 3. Okay, otherwise I have to go back and forth. UR transpose K obviously US and it was omega r square, right? Omega r square UR US. UR transpose M US. So this is my third equation. So I just rewritten here. Now what I told, I'll multiply equation.
Omega s square. Omega s square.
Omega s square. No, omega r, right?
No, so here it's omega there.
Where is the mistake? You tell me, please.
No, so you're writing this equation in this next page.
I am just repeating this equation there in the next. Okay. I'm just because here space is not there, so I'm just writing equation. Okay. Now I will pre-multiply equation 2 by UR transpose. So UR transpose K US omega s square, then UR transpose M US. Equation number. Now 3 minus 4. You see, left hand side is same. So I can say omega r square minus omega s square. Because these are scalar, right? I can take the common. Okay. So transpose M US equals to. Now, since R is not equal to S, right? So therefore omega R is not equal to omega S. So frequency, distinct load will get, okay? Because those are different modes. So if this is not equal to 0, then this has to be 0. UR transpose M US. So this is the orthogonality of the mode shapes with respect to the mass matrix. Proved for any RNS, distinct RNS, we proved it. Okay, without that very bad algebraic calculation that you have done, and most of you are maybe facing difficulties in solving that. Okay, so UR transpose M US equals to 0. So that is, let's say, equation number 5. Now let us substitute this equation 5 in this equation 4. Okay, then what will get? This one is 0, right? UR transpose M US equals to 0. You see, this is 0. Then so UR transpose K into US equals to 0. Orthogonality of the mode shapes. So this represents the orthogonality. So this is not the normal orthogonality that you learned in mathematics. Okay, it is the orthogonality with respect to the mass and the stiffness matrix. M and any doubt here in that in these two expressions, how this is coming? All are agree with me? Okay. Now we told that UR is, I mean that all the modes are like arbitrary, right? The shape is unique, but I mean in the component, let's say for UR, okay, or US, whatever. So U1, 1R, U2R, UNR. So I can when it was multiplied by some factors, and I can get another. I can show it represented in another manner, right? Okay, both are correct. So we need normalization. We do the normalization. Okay, and the normalization that we preferred here is the mass normalization. So I discussed in the one of the class. You remember? I talked about U1 transpose M U1. Someone is getting that value for the numerical problem. I think I still remember it was 72 or something, right? If I am not wrong. Then I asked him, what should I do so that I get U1 transpose M into U1 equals to 1. So he told that you have to 1 by root over 72, you have to multiply it with this mode shape, right? Okay. So that is the case we are doing here. So let us say we have mode shapes, all the modes, that is U1 to UN, we have all normalized. Normalized with respect to M. That means I can say U1 transpose MU1. So 1, similarly, all the things, UN transpose M into UN is equals to 1. Okay? Right? So I can say UR transpose UR 1. Correct? I have normalized, mass normalized, such a manner that this I got as 1. Okay. So you have to remember that these are now normalized mode. I am talking about normalized mode. That's why these mode shapes are also called the normal mode. Okay. And since it is orthogonal as well as normal, so that's why you can call it as orthonormal also. Okay. Right? Fine. Now, what I am trying to say is that UR transpose M UR equals to 1. Right? So now what is my eigenvalue problem for Rth mode UR? Correct? Okay. Or I mean, actually, you can take any one of those equations that I have developed. So UR transpose K UR equals to omega R square UR transpose M into UR. Now this one is what? 1. So that is why I can write UR transpose K UR. Any doubt with this equation or this equation? Please ask me. Any issue? Actually, we are discussing the same thing, okay, that you have done for the 2 degrees of freedom system. But I know some of you may be getting confused. Okay. So you see, there are 4 equations you have finally got. Okay, equation 5, equation 6, equation 7 I can say, and equation 8 I can say. Okay. So please look at carefully the equations. U r transpose M U. Let me write it again. U r transpose M U S 0. U r transpose K U S equal to 0. U r transpose M U r equals to 1. Right? If we normalize the mode shapes. U r transpose K, sorry. U r omega square. So these are all coming from your the powerful properties of the mode shapes. That's the orthogonality relationship. Okay. So now I can write it in a compact form. So just try to, just remember this all expressions. Okay. Now I'll write it in a compact form. Okay. That you can remember, or if you do not remember also, that doesn't matter. Okay. You will find in the books that is the way they have compact form they have written. So U r transpose M into US equals to, so this is happen only if R is not equal to S, R is not equal to S. Okay. Equals to delta RS. I'll tell you what is delta RS. Omega R square delta RS. This 4 equation can be represented through these 2 equation. Okay. This delta RS is a mathematical function or representation is called the Kronecker delta. If my spelling is wrong, then I'm sorry. Kronecker delta. Okay. It's called the Kronecker delta. Right? What is the property of this Kronecker delta? Delta R is equal to 0 if R not equal to S. Delta R is equal to 1 if R equal to S. Now you see all the equations whether it is satisfying or not. That is just in compact form writing, nothing else. Just this is the basic thing is that you should remember this 4 things. And you don't actually have to remember that you know the orthogonality bar is different from S, then the mode shapes are orthogonal to mass matrix and stiffness matrix. So I can say U10 10th mode transpose M into U1000 is equals to 0. Okay? Or any other mode, U11 equals to 0. Okay. And if the modes are same, if I consider mode shape, then UR transpose M UR will be 1. Remember that if I mass normalized. The condition is that the mode shapes are mass normalized. And if that condition is satisfied, then UR transpose K UR will be omega R. Okay. Any issue so far? Because we have finished the orthogonality of mode shapes. Now we'll move to the mode superposition in a systematic manner. Okay. Is it clear? Please remember this force expression or note down. Okay. Now I will ask you if you have understood properly. Please let me know. So now you tell me U transpose M into U. What is the dimension of this? N cross M. Dimension of this? N cross M. N cross M. So I'll get obviously N cross M matrix. Right? Tell me what will be the entries. So I'm just first entry. Let's say I'm just making a box like that, so that for your convenience. Let's say it's a 4 by 4. For just for convenience. Okay. So then I'll make it as a 4, right? Okay. Tell me quickly what are the entries if you have understood everything so far. What is this entry? Come on. Now you have understood everything, right? Tell me. All I have discussed. There's nothing more to discuss.
Omega 1 square.
Come on. Omega 1 square. Please look at the 4 expression. Look at the 4 expression again. Note it down. If you are not able to remember right now, please note it down, 4 expressions. Or if you are convenient with these 2 expressions also, you can write it, whatever prefer you. I have given you all the information, okay, and repeatedly I talked about all those things, okay, and actually we have almost done the majority, I mean, one of a huge chunk of part of the multi degrees of freedom system or in your dynamics actually, because single degree of freedom system is you learned. Now multi degrees of freedom system, you know how to make it a number of single degree of freedom system. Okay. Not it. Now tell me, what is this entry? Let's say it is a 4 by 4. Okay, n is 4. Let's say. So that's why you make a box. What is the first entry? Come on. You should know. First entry is 0.
1, sir. 1, 1, 1.
Okay, what is the correct? 0, 1, omega 1 square, what?
1,
1. What is this entry?
That will be 0.
That will be 0. What is this entry?
That will be 0, sir.
What is this entry?
That will be also 0. I think the
What is
diagonal
this?
matrix 1.
Yes, all diagonal will be 1. And you see how our life will become easier. This multiplication, and I am going to use this during the transformation for the modal analysis. Got it? Everybody agree with this or not? Or not able to understood why it is? So yeah, I have just shown for 4 by 4 because the space is not there. So in general, I mean this n by n will be 1, 1, 1, n times 1, all here 0. So it's a identity matrix of n cross 1, n cross 1. You see, so the my mass is already get uncoupled. Okay, if m is also coupled through this thing, I have uncoupled it. Right? You see all diagonal, right? So one is not independent of the others. I mean in a row or column wise, if you see. Any issue, anybody? Don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, so I'll assume that it is okay for you. Okay? Now, so what you got? U transpose M U. U is the your modal matrix, right? And M is the mass matrix. This is the modal matrix. And this is the mass matrix. So that you got as an identity matrix, right? I. So I am calling it as an I. Okay. Now tell me, U transpose K U. Assuming that it's a n, although it is n by n. So let us say it is now 4 by 4, n equals to 4. So what is this entry? Use their orthogonality property, very powerful property. What is this entry? Or at least you tell what difficulty you are facing now, you finding. You have someone has told this one, right? So what difficulty all you are facing, to tell me what is the entry.
So is that omega 1 square?
Yeah, why you are not confident? Why omega 1 square?
Omega.
Right? What is this?
That will be 0.
0. What is this?
And there will be a diagonal matrix with omega 1, omega 2 square. That is.
Yes. Yeah, omega 1 square, omega 2, omega 3 square, omega 4 square, and so on and so forth for n dimensional case, omega n square, all other 0. Due to that powerful property again, orthogonality of the mode set. And what is this? That is a spectral matrix, right? This one. Clear? If you have doubt, you please ask me. I'm again repeatedly saying the same thing. Maybe you are feeling bad that sir is asking repeatedly. But anyway, that is my job to ask. Okay. So U on transpose M is a identity matrix. U transpose KU is a spectral matrix. Right? With diagonal. This is nothing but the omega I square in the diagonal, right? So diagonal matrix of omega I square. Okay. And this is just an identity matrix. Okay. So you see this we are able to uncouple it because of diagonal equation. This is also diagonal. Okay. So the remaining is U transpose CU, the dangerous one, right? Whether it will also be diagonal or not. If you can make it diagonal, then our life is become easier. Okay. Then you can solve n coupled simultaneous ordinary differential equation to n number of individual single degrees of freedom system uncoupled. We'll make it uncoupled equation. Okay. So we'll talk about this for what condition of the C matrix it will get diagonal. Okay. So that is called the classical damping or proportional damping. Okay, which will make this thing diagonal. Okay. So now with this knowledge, now I go to my equation of motion. In q double dot, right? Yeah, q double dot t plus c q dot t plus k into q, sorry, not dot, equals to pt, ft, whatever you can use, no problem as such. Correct? N cross n, n cross 1, n cross n, n cross 1, n cross n, n cross 1, n cross 1. Multi-degree of freedom system, equation of motion subjected to a load vector of pt. Okay? Right? Where this is my displacement vector, velocity vector, acceleration vector. These are the symmetric mass, damping and stiffness matrices. Clear? Okay, so now I will assume my solution, that is q t vector, right, equals to u1 eta 1t, u2 eta 2t. So that's the actual transformation. Okay. Eta n, sorry, un eta nt. This combination contribution from all the n modes. First mode, second mode, third mode. Okay. U1 is the first mode cell, U2 is the second mode cell, UN is the nth mode cell. These are known or unknown? U1, UN, U1 to UN.
That is known, sir.
Known, because these are mode shape, right? That we have solved from eigenvalue problem. Correct. Again, write the equation of motion. Q double dot C Q dot plus K Q. These are Q means QT, okay? Please remember that. Equals to load vector. Right? And my assumed solution is Qt equals to, so contribution from all the nodes, okay? That is Qt is equals to, now I can write U into vector eta t. Clear? N cross 1. N cross n modal matrix. N cross 1 modal coordinate or principal coordinate. Okay. Understood how it is coming from this thing, right? Again, I am explaining here. No problem. So, U1 eta 1t, U2 eta 2t, so on and so forth, Un eta nt. So I can write it like this, right? U1, U2, Un, then in vector form eta 1t, eta 2t, eta nt. Clear? If you multiply it, you will get the same thing, right? This is what? Nothing but your modal matrix. That is U. That is nothing but your U matrix, right? And this is I am calling in a vector form eta t. That is what I have written. So this is my actual physical coordinate, right? Actual coordinate, system coordinate, Qt. I need to find out the response at Qt, right? That this vector I have to find out actually. Okay. But I am doing a transformation. Okay, right? So Q equals to U, but this is like an operator, right? So UT, a transformation matrix like. So U into eta t. So U is nothing but your modal matrix. U is nothing but your modal matrix that constitute all the mode shapes or the eigenvector. Okay, U1, U2, U3, U4, and Un. Okay, and eta t is my new coordinate. Okay, that is the principal coordinate. Okay, so this coordinate is going to, so through this transformation, I am going to uncouple this n number of uncoupled to n number of different equations. Okay, how it is? Write it again. Q double dot t plus c q dot t plus k qt is equals to it. Correct? What is our transformation? I am saying that my qt, that is the response in the physical coordinate, equals to modal matrix into response in the principal coordinate or modal coordinate. Okay. Now substitute this in this equation. Okay. What I will get? M U, sorry, what do you get? M, substituting this, M into this is my equation of motion. Okay, I am substituting this solution in the equation of motion. So what I'll get? M into, come on, just substitute it and tell me what you are getting.
U1 eta double dot t.
No, how will I get U1? I am substituting QT, I am substituting here. Okay, let me write one more line. What is Q dot T? So first of all, tell me, this is time dependent or not time independent? U.
Time independent.
Time independent. This is the mode shapes that we have already obtained from our eigenvalue problem. This is the time dependent part that we are going to obtain. Okay. Then once I got eta t and plug it here, and you'll get the final equation. I mean the final responses in the physical coordinate. So this is physical coordinate response, and this is the principal coordinate and modal coordinate. And these constitute mode shapes U1, U2, UN, right? So Q dot T will be what? U into eta dot T. Simple. Q double dot T. U into eta double dot T. That's all. Now just plug it there. Okay. So I hope everybody are able to understand, because most of the people are silent. That is unfortunate thing, but anyway. M into U into eta double dot T plus C into U into eta dot T plus K U into eta T equals to Pt. Any issue with this equation that I got? Nothing, right? This is Qt is I obtained, so I substitute the Q2, Q dot T and Q double dot T, put it to the equation of motion. I got this. Pre-multiplying this equation by U transpose. What is this? Identity matrix, correct. That is basically I is not required actually to write. Anyway, we do not know about this guy. Plus, what is this?
Spectral matrix.
Spectral matrix. That is diagonal of omega square, right? Is equals to some U transpose into Pt. So that will give you a vector, right? U, because n cross n into n cross 1, so you will get a new vector. So P, let's say star or something you get, right? P star. Okay. So if assuming that, so if there is no damping, then obviously you can see the equations are uncoupled, right? Okay. Now I can solve it as an individual equation. Okay. And let us assume that the, so what I am getting actually again writing here, eta double dot t plus u transpose cu eta dot t plus and the spectral matrix this into eta t, which is nothing but diagonal of the square of the square of the frequencies, natural frequency or the eigenvalues basically. Okay, equals to p star t. P star t is nothing but u into pt. Clear? Okay. So now, if let's say there is some damping matrix, some form of damping matrix is there, so it make it uncoupled or make it this make this diagonal. Okay. So then in that case, so I can write my each equation as eta double dot t eta 1. So first equation will be eta 1, right? Because this constituted of eta 1 double dot, eta 2 double dot, eta 3 double dot, eta n double dot, right? So eta 1 double dot plus 2 omega n zeta n eta dot t, sorry, eta 1 dot t plus omega 1, sorry, omega 1 square eta t is equal to the first component, that is p1 star t. First equation. Second equation, eta 2 double dot t plus 2 omega 2 zeta 2 eta 2 t plus omega 2 square eta 2 t p2 star t. Third equation, eta 3 double dot t 2 omega 3 zeta 3 eta 3 t omega 3 square eta 3 t equals to p3 star t. So on and so forth. Nth equation, eta nt 2 omega n zeta n eta nt plus omega n square eta nt equal to pn star t. These are all individual equations, right? Eta 1 is not dependent on eta 2 or eta 3 or any other, or like vice versa, right? So we can very easily solve. You know how to solve it, right? Single degree of freedom system, damped force vibration. So if this P1 star T is very simple, like harmonic type, we can get the closed form solution. Or if it is not a closed form solution, then what we will use? What generic approach?
Duhamel integral.
Duhamel integral. Here is the Duhamel integral, right? Okay. So now you got it, right? So you can solve each equation independently. Okay. And as I already mentioned, you see that all, I mean, if it is 1000 degrees of freedom, you do not need to solve 1000 such equations. Only the solving the first 10 equations will be good enough for your engineering purposes. Okay. Okay. So that will come to that. How the equation, number of equations getting reduced. That also I will show in a systematic manner. So you solve each equation, you'll get eta 1, eta 2, eta 3, all time, right? Function of time, such and so on and so forth, eta 2. N number of single degree of freedom system equation you solve. Okay, right? Provided that you know the damping ratio for the each mode. Omega 1 known to you, right? And omega 2, omega 3, all those are known to you because these you have obtained from the eigenvalue problem. Okay. Okay. So once you obtain this, you can construct eta t vector, right? Correct? Because this is nothing but this, right? Then this is known to you. Now put it back here. Qt equal to u into eta t. Q2 equals Qt equals to u into eta t. Okay, right? This is known to you. This is the modal matrix, right? Constitute all the modes. That is known to you. Again, you have obtained from eigenvalue problem. This how you obtain by solving each single degree of freedom equation that you already know. Many times we have discussed during the single degree of freedom system. So put it here and get finally the response in the physical coordinate or actual coordinate. Clear? So now tell me to solve this equation, right? Okay. So if you want to consider only on the steady state response, right? So then you can ignore the transient response part due to the initial condition, right? But let's say if I want to consider the initial condition, or let's say the right hand side force is not there, so then it's a free vibration problem, damped free vibration problem, right? So then you need the initial condition, right? So initial condition of what? Initial displacement velocity. Of what coordinate? Which coordinate you require to solve this equation? Let me write it again. eta 1 double dot t plus 2 zeta 1 omega 1 eta dot t. Let us say I am going to solve this equation, one equation, because if you know how to solve one equation, then you know how to solve all the equations, right? Eta t, eta 1 t equals to 0. That's the free vibration, single degree of freedom system. To solve it, what initial condition is required at time t equal to 0? Please tell me. You need two initial condition, right?
Eta naught and eta dot naught.
Yes. Eta 1 not, okay, or I can for convenience I can write like this, at t equal to 0 and eta 1 dot at time t. So these two conditions is required, right, to solve this problem. You have done it, right? We solve it x double dot plus 2 omega zeta omega n zeta x dot plus omega n square x equals to 0, right? We solve it, damped free vibration problem. Okay, if you forget, please refer to that. Okay, and in that case we need to initial condition, that is x naught and x naught dot. X naught is nothing but x at time t equal to 0 and x naught, that is nothing but derivative of x at time t equal to 0. So similarly here the coordinate is just eta 1. Okay, now but the initial displacement or velocity will give in the physical coordinate, right? Obviously, right? Because you do not know what is eta 1 eta 2, it is no physical significance, right? It is some combination eta 1 eta 2, you do not know what is this. Okay, you will get eta 1 eta 2. You have introduced this coordinate eta 1 eta 2 and eta n to uncouple the equation of motion through this transformation. Okay, so you need, so your initial condition will be specified on the physical coordinate, actual physical coordinate, that is qt. Okay, understood? So from that you have to find out what is the initial condition in your modal coordinate or principal coordinate. Okay, so what I am trying to say is that qt is the transformation. While you solving this equation, that is any eta, I will call it eta I. Okay, eta I double dot plus 2 zeta I omega I eta I dot t plus omega I square. So I can be 1 to n, right? Eta t is equal to 0. Let's say no force is there. Okay, so initial condition is, so you eta I at time t equal to 0 is required and eta I dot at t equal to 0 is required. Otherwise you will not be able to solve it, right? You need two initial conditions. But your initial condition will be specified in the physical coordinate, in this coordinate. Okay, so how to get eta t? So basically the vector eta t at t equal to 0 and vector eta dot t at time t equal to 0. Okay, so I need this, right, to solve the equation. Okay, but my initial condition will be specified at q at time t equal to 0 and q dot at time t equal to 0. So I have to get this to solve this equation, and then I can put the solution eta t here to get that. Okay, so that you think about that, we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, how to do. So can you tell me how to do it? Any idea? Obviously you get from this expression, right, from this relation that you understood. So how I will get it? Tell me. And a simple thing you should tell. I mean, but you will not be able to tell the exact one, I mean the correct one or the systematic one. But what I am trying to say is that again I am writing u eta t. Okay, I know, let's say eta, let's say the initial displacement I am talking about. So I know q at time t equal to 0. Okay, this I know. Or it is better to express like this, right? q0. Okay, q0 u eta qt at 0. Okay, so this is specified, given initial condition in the physical coordinate. This is known to you. Can you find out this? How to find out this?
Like u inverse, both inverse.
U inverse. Okay. Anything else? Okay, you are right. Mathematically, you are right. You can take the inverse. But it is not always possible, because you see the inverse of this u may be difficult to get obtained or maybe ill conditioned. Okay, this U matrix. And also here it is 9 by 9. I will show you. Let's say we do not want to consider all the n number of modes. as I already mentioned, right, if it is 1000 degrees of freedom, only 5 to 10 modes is good enough for our engineering purpose. So in that case, this dimension will be n cross 5, the number of mode you are considering. Then how will you invert it? Very good. Okay, think about it. Any idea? Anyway, but you have to find out, right? You have to find out eta 0, eta at time t equal to 0. Otherwise, how will you solve it? That individual equation. Because you have to solve the individual equation to get eta 1, eta 2, eta 3, basically the eta t vector. Then you put it here to get the physical quantity. So the similar expression for velocity I can write, that is q dot at 0 is equals to u into eta dot at 0. Okay. So this is given. You have to find out this. This you have to find out, and this you have to find out. Once you got this, then you can solve the individual equation and find out the response. Then put it here. This one you put. This is known to you. You will get the response in the physical quantity. Okay. Okay. So just as a hint, again this powerful property, orthogonality of the modes, will come into the picture to find out eta t at time t equal to 0 and eta dot t at time t equal to 0. Okay. So try to see from books or first try yourself what I am talking about. Okay. So you see that how the property will be powerful it is. Okay. So as I mentioned, if it is you do not consider all the modes, then U is not a square matrix. So then how will you do it? You will not be able to invert it, right? And that is not a good practice or good mathematically also not a proper to invert U. Okay. There may be some problem in inversion. So you use the orthogonality property. Any idea? Now I give you the hints. Any idea? Okay, just I'll take 1 minute. I know the time is over. Just I'll take 1 minute. Okay. So please look into that. So just let's say displacement velocity, same thing, right? So I mean qt 0 u what is that? Eta t 0. I want to find out this. Correct? Okay. Pre-multiplied by u transpose m. Pre-multiplied by u transpose m. What is this? Identity matrix. So eta t at 0 equals to u transpose m qt. This is given to you. This is known to you. This is known to you. You just multiply it. No inversion, nothing. Whether it is a square matrix, not square matrix, it doesn't matter. Okay. Just multiply it and find out the initial condition at the modal coordinate. So this is initial displacement. It is so similarly for velocity in modal. So go through the books, solve some problem, discussed again about this thing, and also the damping we have not treated, right? Damping we have to discuss in our next 2 classes. Okay, thank you.